Welcome once again to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, the international home of sport aviation. Hello, I'm John Nicholson, your host for Ultimate Flights. Hey, something new stools. The ratings must have been okay. Actually, this month on Ultimate Flights, although it's not a wedding, we've got something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. The something old's a visit with two of the greatest air warriors in the history of the United States. Something new, a young eagle's first look at a modern tactical jet. The something borrowed's an historic ride over the famous brickyard of the Indianapolis 500. And certainly plenty of blue, always. Blue sky, that is. But first, let me thank you for your tremendous response and support you've given Ultimate Flight since our premiere show. Now, we knew there were millions of aviation lovers out there. We didn't know how enthusiastic they'd be about flying with us. It's been great. In fact, what are we doing here on the ground? When we return, the Indianapolis 500 as you've never seen it, from one of the most famous combat aircraft in history, a B-17 bomber. Ultimate Flights is brought to you by EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association. Canon, so advanced, it's simple. Avemco Corporation, a New York Stock Exchange listed company.
Everyone knows money talks. Listen to this credit card from the National Aeronautic Association. It says free NAA associate membership, low introductory 5.9% APR, no annual fees, and up to $250,000 in travel accident insurance. Call now. The first 1,000 approved card holders will also receive this special bonus offer. Flying puts you in the pilot's seat. No other magazine brings you as much of the beauty, the fascination, the excitement of flying as Flying Magazine. Just call and we'll send you the latest issue of Flying free. If you like flying, we'll send you 11 more issues a full year for just $18.97. That's over $23 off the annual newsstand cost. Call toll-free for your free issue of Flying right now. 1-800-631-5188. That's 1-800-631-5188.
Do you like airplanes and the people who fly them? Then EAA, the Sport Aviation Association, is for you. EAA offers something for every age and interest, pilot and non-pilot alike. As an EAA member, you'll be right in the middle of the action. EAA is aviation's recognized newsmaker. Get involved with local activities or the International Oshkosh Fly-In Convention. Join today and receive this free video. Call now. Learn why our members say EAA puts the fun in flying.
The Indianapolis 500 auto race, a tradition dating back to 1911, is long been recognized as the single largest annual Memorial Day celebration in America. It's estimated more than 500,000 people gather at the historic Brickyard each year. But Memorial Day 1995 had extraordinary significance. It marked the 50th anniversary of the conclusion of the largest global conflict in the history of civilization, World War II. And this significance was not lost on the planners or the spectators at Indy. As part of the opening ceremonies at the 500, it was decided that one of the few remaining B-17s, the famous flying fortress of World War II, should pass over the Brickyard, escorted by the most effective fighter planes of the war, legendary P-51 Mustangs. This formation, flown 50 years after the fact, was bound to bring a flood of profound feelings and memories to a whole generation who sacrificed so much in defense of freedom. That alone is enough to constitute an ultimate flight. But what if the formation were led by two of the most famous and decorated aerial aces of World War II, General Chuck Yeager and Colonel C.E. Bud Anderson? It takes 5 confirmed kills or victories to be considered an ace. Between Chuck Yeager and Bud Anderson, they had 30. Chuck Yeager, the very same pilot who was later to become the first person in history to exceed the speed of sound as a post-war Air Force test pilot, had another first in World War II. He was the first pilot allowed to rejoin his unit after being shot down. Interestingly enough, Chuck Yeager calls Bud Anderson the best fighter pilot he ever saw. Ultimate Flights' Tom Poveresny asked them their feelings about leading this Memorial Day commemorative formation.
You know, all the hundreds of thousands of pilots and airmen that served with us in World War II, you know, you have a feeling that there was a lot of comradeship over there, and there was a lot of duty involved. And I think it's wonderful that they would ask Andy and I to come back here and fly P-51s, because we're two of the very few guys who are still flying that flew in World War II. And it makes you feel so proud to represent all those guys, those that gave it all and those that succeeded in fighting for the freedom of our countries.
What an honor to be here and to represent the people of World War II. And of course, I like to remember the people that didn't make it. I know it was a patriotic time, and we do want to remember them as well as all of our veterans that are still hanging around today.
Bud, when you're up there flying like that, though it's 50 years later, do you feel a little deja vu? And the fact is that you almost feel like you were back there back in the 1940s flying again with Chuck and the others?
Yeah, except I'm fumbling around the cockpit trying to find different things now.
Like any other mission, this one had to be planned with a flight briefing. In a small, nondescript civilian briefing room somewhere on the general aviation side of the Indianapolis airport, unknown to all but a very few, two of America's greatest living pilots sat once again to plan a mission. They synchronized their timepieces. They clarified their channels of communication. They speculated about wind and weather.
Right now, the overcast is 1,700 feet.
Just right.
So if we're, say, 700 feet over the ground in that area, 1,500 feet, we should be in fine shape.
Yeah, if you call in a B-17 flight and call for check-in, we say Mustang 1, Mustang 2, Mustang 3.
And I'll be sure, I guess.
And you're the boss until we leave you.
Well, as race time neared, a fresh wind seemed to blow the overcast on its way, and it was a go for the flying tribute as well as the race itself. As the B-17 circled, waiting in the choppy air for its precisely timed pass over the expectant crowd, those of us on board could not help being drawn back in time. How many bomber crews on how many other gray and windy mornings had looked left, right, to see the comforting sight of the lethal P-51s of the 363rd, Chuck Yeager and glamorous Glenn, Bud Anderson and Old Crow, and all the others there to escort them safely home. As the formation approached at an altitude of just 1,000 feet, a riot of flash cubes showed the aviators just how many people were watching them from the ground. Inside the speedway, they were playing taps. And for a few minutes, the fans, the drivers, the pit crews, the owners, working media, and all the rest were focused on the true meaning of Memorial Day. Talk about an ultimate flight. That's one we'll never forget. Next, we're going to do a little sky dancing with Sean D. Tucker and friends.
This could be your arm. This could be your back. This could be your stomach. This could be your thigh. These could be your shoulders. This could be your body. This could be the way. The Soloflex Muscle Machine. Call now for a free brochure. This could be your arm. This could be your chest. These could be your shoulders. This could be your thigh. This could be your stomach. This could be your back. This could be your body. This could be the way. The Soloflex Muscle Machine. Call now for a free brochure.
To determine the full effect of motocross, the figure MX is added to horsepower as such, multiplied by RPM, squared by miles per hour, and divided by C, the commonly used representation of the stadium crowd. Of course, those who know sports know there's a simpler but no less accurate expression of motocross, a force best represented as ESPN2.
If there's a word that gets used most often in the same sentence with the word flight, that word has to be freedom. Sean D. Tucker, internationally acclaimed aerobatic performer and Ultimate Flights sky dancing field editor, has been exploring a new way of celebrating this freedom.
And with me right now is one of the finest human beings I know, Dan the Man Buchanan. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, Sean.
I'm really glad you're here. Listen, tell me what you're going to do in this hang glider.
I don't know yet. No.
Yes, you do, Danny.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, you do. Don't believe him, ladies and gentlemen. See that face? It's not an honest face.
No, we're going to have fun. We're going to make sure everyone here has a good time, too.
Great. I fly with Danny all across the United States of America, and what he really shares is a passion of the sky with the folks, and he shares enthusiasm about life. And Danny, I know a year after you're flying hang gliders, you busted your back in a motorcycle accident, and you didn't quit. How come?
There was no reason to. No one gave me a reason to except the doctors. No, I just continually do the things I want to do. I mean, the fact that I'm in a chair has nothing to do with stopping me from getting around a few obstacles. I hear that continually, that I'm an inspiration. And if I am an inspiration, that's great. But it's purely accidental. You know, I'm doing the things that I enjoy doing, and it's just, I guess, my own initiative and personality, and not listening to what other people tell me I can't do. You know, to people that someone's sitting on their butt, and I see them sitting on their butt, and I'm out having fun doing this flying and kayaking or whatever, I'll just tell them to get off your ass and go do it.
You know, Danny, you know, isn't that the case? In this life that God has given us, is we get the opportunity to go for it and go as hard as we can, and you just don't stop no matter what's in your way.
Yeah, I forget I'm in a chair. What I do at the air shows is quite different than what I do recreationally. Airports are flat. There's no mountain for me to fly off of. So I launch off the top of a moving vehicle. Okay. What's that?
I'm ready.
Let's go to cruise. Rider's rolling. At about 35 miles an hour, I blast off this moving vehicle and start climbing. When I let go of the tow line, then it's comforting because I'm no longer being pulled. Now I'm free flying and I'm in my own element and complete control and having fun. And during the show, I usually have an airplane will usually sneak up behind me and start attacking me, get me a little bit worried, and I chase him away with a bunch of special effects and fireworks and kind of light up the sky like a Third World War bird.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Buchanan.
You gain strength, courage, and confidence, Anna Eleanor Roosevelt wrote, by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I lived through the horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Well, I wonder if Ms. Roosevelt knew Dan the Man Buchanan. Well, we promised to have nationally recognized flight instructors John and Martha King of the King Schools take a little time during each show to explain the basics of flying. Coming up, let's go flying with those masters of the one-liner, John and Martha.
Be sure to get your shot with a Canon Sure Shot, like the new Sure Shot Z70W. So petite, so chic, and so full of features.
Everyone knows money talks. Listen to this credit card from the National Aeronautic Association. It says free NAA associate membership, low introductory 5.9% APR, no annual fees, and up to $250,000 in travel accident insurance. Call now. The first 1,000 approved cardholders will also receive this special bonus offer.
The great white shark is the most feared of all predators. Fueled by a voracious appetite, it relentlessly tracks its victims. Once the massive jaws grab hold, the shark begins ripping and tearing at its catch. Finally, using its immense size, the great white pulls its meal towards the depths of the ocean floor.
The Canadian Football League on ESPN2. It's wild.
Ultimate Flights has gotten the two best-known flight instructors in the country, John and Martha King of King Accelerated Schools, to give you a few basics on learning to fly.
Well, John, I'm up here in a Robinson helicopter, an R-22, and let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. You might say it's the sports car of the air.
And I'm flying this magnificent Mooney MSE. And you know, when you're up in an airplane suspended above the earth, you have to wonder about the magic that makes metal airplanes full of people and luggage fly. Well, it's really not magic at all. We learned all about this from a guy named Bernoulli. And no, he was not Italian. And no, he did not invent the Bernoulli noodle. He was Swiss. And as the story goes, he studied the way water flows through a sewer pipe. Not a pleasant job, but what he learned helps us all fly today.
You see, air in motion behaves just the way water does. Bernoulli discovered, using a rusty sewer pipe like this, that as any fluid goes through a narrow spot in a passageway, it speeds up. Bernoulli installed gauges, and what he discovered was, where the speed of the fluid is faster, the pressure is less. And this is the way an airplane wing creates lift. Notice the air going past the bottom of the wing has a straight shot. It's not disturbed. But this curve forces the air going over the top to speed up. And when the air is faster, the pressure is less. This means there's a relative low pressure at the top of the wing and relative high pressure underneath the wing. It's this pressure differential that creates lift, and that's what makes an airplane fly.
The neat thing is, as a pilot, you can control the lift. Just pull back on the wheel, and the elevator will raise the nose so the wing meets the air at a greater angle, and you get more lift. Just push forward on the wheel, and you get less lift. Now, in order for this to work, you have to have something pulling the airplane through the air. And that something is the propeller. Now, a lot of pilots think the propeller is there just to keep the pilot cool. And that is partially true, because when the propeller stops, most pilots will really begin to sweat. That's a joke, folks.
The propeller has an airfoil shape just like a wing, but the propeller creates lift that pulls the airplane forward. That forward propulsion is called thrust. See? Nothing to it.
Now wait a minute, John. You said that a propeller pulls an airplane through the air so the wings can produce lift. But this helicopter doesn't have a propeller pulling it forward. And for that matter, it doesn't have any wings either.
You're absolutely right, Martha. Why don't you tell us about helicopters?
It is not true that a helicopter is just a collection of parts flying in loose formation around an oil leak. In fact, helicopters follow Bernoulli's law just like airplanes do. What this helicopter does have is a big rotor over the top of my head, and the blades on that rotor are shaped like a wing. I can change the angle that those blades meet the air by using this lever, the collective. When I pull up on the collective, the blades produce more lift and the helicopter goes up. Pushing down on the collective reduces the lift and the helicopter descends. To move the helicopter through the air, I use this control, the cyclic, to tilt the rotor. To go forward, I move the cyclic forward, which tilts the main rotor disc forward, and the helicopter goes that way too. If I want to back up, I can do it just by moving the cyclic backward, and that tilts the main rotor rearward. Now what about that little propeller in the back? That's the tail rotor. With these pedals, I can use the tail rotor to control the direction the helicopter is pointed. The blades on that tail rotor are shaped like wings also. We'll talk a lot more about all of this in future shows. Now you know that it's not magic that makes an airplane or a helicopter fly. It's lift, and it all comes from Bernoulli's experiments. So the next time you see an aircraft flying overhead, just remember Bernoulli and think how much you can learn from a sewer pipe.
Next time on Let's Go Flying, we'll give you a pilot's eye view of your first takeoff and landing and show you the techniques that experienced pilots use to make it easy, every time.
And you'll discover in the air some surprising facts about how the controls work and how aerobatic pilots use this information to do exciting things with an airplane.
See you then.
Back to you, John.
I love those guys. I want to party with those two throttle jockeys. Actually, I have partied with those two throttle jockeys. They'll be back next month. There's going to be a quiz, so you better review your notes. And speaking of people of the party persuasion, here is Ultimate Flight's own walking fiesta, young eagle extraordinaire, Ken Tosin, a teller of aviation tales to the Clearasil set. All-around good guy. Ken, now we've had a lot of mail since our first edition, and what most people want to know is, hey, what'd you pay for that haircut? Just a joke, seriously. Last time, you introduced us to Bill Lishman, who trained the geese to fly with his...
You know, Pranta
Stop that right now. Bill Lishman, who trained the geese to fly in formation with his ultralight. What do you have for us this time?
Well, actually, I'd like to introduce you to some of my friends who fly some of the most technologically advanced jets in the world, so...
Okay, all right. Ken Tosin and friends on Ultimate Flight's Young Eagles feature.
You want to explore a world of fun, excitement, and travel? Then order our exciting video, Let's Go Fly.
This in-the-air video puts you at the controls, experiencing the joy and exhilaration of flying.
See? There's nothing to it. In Let's Go Flying, we explain everything you need for an exciting beginning in flying, how to get started flying, the surprisingly low cost of learning, and priceless do's and don'ts.
Call us now at 1-800-854-1001 and you'll discover what learning to fly is all about.
Do you like airplanes and the people who fly them? Then EAA, the Sport Aviation Association, is for you. EAA offers something for every age and interest, pilot and non-pilot alike. As an EAA member, you'll be right in the middle of the action. EAA is aviation's recognized newsmaker. Get involved with local activities or the International Oshkosh Fly-In Convention. Join today and receive this free video. Call now. Learn why our members say EAA puts the fun in flying.
Question. What do you call hockey when the ice melts? Roller hockey international. All the action. Hold the ice.
The girl who wasn't like the other girls. The pretty girl who didn't flirt and giggle. The one who was good at sports, but never on the team. That girl still isn't like the other girls. She never wanted to be.
Okay, Ken, you brought reinforcements. Well, I mean guests.
Well, you've heard about stealth technology and how it was used in Desert Storm and Desert Shield, right? Well, how would you like to meet one of the very first people to see downtown Baghdad from the cockpit of a stealth fighter?
I would love to. Can you do that?
Sure I can. Here's Major Rob Donaldson of the Air National Guard, former stealth pilot and Desert Storm veteran. How you doing, Rob?
Oh, good, Ken. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Major, this is indeed an honor.
John, pleasure. Pleasure to meet you.
You know, Rob, now that you're here, we have a great opportunity to ask the question that all our young viewers really would like to ask you.
What's that, John?
What kind of sound systems do you have on those stealth aircraft? You know, is it really high-tech CDs, or what's the deal with that? No. Seriously. Tell us about your training, your flying the stealth, and what happened during the Persian Gulf War.
I was flying F-16s in Miami, Florida, when the Air Force approached me and said, hey, we'd like you to become a member of this super secret unit out in Nevada. I went out to Nevada and trained on the F-117 stealth fighter for 2 months and flew stateside in the F-117 for about a year before we deployed over to Saudi Arabia for Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. The war portion of it there, the 43 nights, just seemed like one long, endless night, and we experienced a full range of emotion from terror and anger to exhilaration. It was just a very intense period of time in my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's really something. Rob, you're not with the Air Force anymore, but you are still flying.
Yes, I'm flying F-16s in the Air National Guard now.
Actually, John, the F-16 is one of the most versatile jets that the Air Force flies. It was first put in line.
Okay, Doogie Howser, try a decaf, will you please?
Well, actually, if you really were nice, maybe I could introduce you to one of my other friends who flies the F-16 jets, and maybe we could give you a demonstration.
Another friend?
Well, yes, Paul McIntosh.
Apple? You know Apple?
You know Apple?
Yeah, Apple McIntosh.
He's a
Wow,
great
what a
guy.
small world.
Yeah, no
Imagine
kidding.
that.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, here's Apple McIntosh and the F-16. Go ahead, Ken.
Captain McIntosh did give our Ultimate Flights crew an inside look at the F-16, the Air Force's versatile fighter.
Good morning, I'm Captain Paul McIntosh with the 388th Fighter Wing in Hill Air Force Base, Utah. This morning we're here at the El Toro Air Show with my crew. We're here today to put on an F-16 demonstration flight. We enjoy showing what the heck the F-16 can do. After flying in Saudi Arabia, Ecuador, all over Europe, I think that this jet right here is probably the best fighter in the world, both in dogfighting and now that they gave us our new toy, the AMRAAM missile. I think it can stand its own against anybody. My absolute favorite part of the airplane is the engine. Get that huge intake, and you can see there's just barely the front end of the engine that starts back there. But it's a wonderful engine. It's a wonderful thing. It can you can stand the jet on end, and as you're heading straight up, you can accelerate in this aircraft. One of the things we do in this demonstration flight at the very end is I'll pull straight up, be accelerating, and then I'll do aileron rolls until I go out of sight of the crowd, and I'll knock it off early and come back down just because the crowd can't see anymore. I used to always put my flap lever down when I came to land, and this airplane doesn't even have a flap lever. The computer does everything. It's got digital flight controls, and it's got leading edge flaps, which come down all the way to about 25 degrees. It's got trailing edge flaps, and everything is done solely by the computer. Afterburner, this is the aft end of the engine. This is where we dump all the fuel, 70,000 pounds per hour gets dumped in there, and that boosts me up to a total of about 26,000 pounds of thrust. And this Block 40 F-16C weighs right about 20,000 pounds. Speeds, we can go Mach 2, actually just slightly over. We don't get there very often. Matter of fact, my personal best is about 1.7 because when you go Mach 2, you only go that for just a short amount of time, and you use all the gas that you have. Now I think we'll go jump up in the cockpit and show you just a couple other neat things that are unique to the F-16. Okay, now we come to the pointy end of the matter here. This is how you get in an F-16. You sit on the rail, you grab it like parallel bars, and you slide over onto the seat. You stick 1 foot down this hole, 1 foot down this hole, and you put it on. It fits just about like a glove. I look through the heads-up display, which gives me an enormous amount of information. It's almost like cheating. It puts a little box around your bad guy out there, so even if he's 10 miles away, and normally you wouldn't see him, you look at that little box, and then you see a little speck. That's the bad guy. That's kind of a quick and dirty look at what the S-16, from my perspective, does for you. For now, back to you guys.
Boy, you watch that, you can almost feel those G-forces and his exhaustion as he puts the F-16 through its paces.
Well, Ken, you know what it feels like. I mean, 1 minute you're pulling positive G's and feeling like 10 elephants are standing on your chest, and the next you're pulling negative G's and you feel like you're going to pop right out of the cockpit.
Yeah, never get used to that, you know.
No, hey, let's go talk about it. You want to get a Coke or something?
Sure, let's go. Actually, I remember there was this one time I was flying up with Apple, and
I would love to have a Coke. But I guess somebody has to stay and do the show. Speaking of which, next, our friend Patty Wagstaff introduces us to an extraordinary sky sister, Connie Boland, on women in aviation.
You've been hearing a lot about the information superhighway, but millions of people receive their primary news and information through the printed word. Times Printing of Random Lake, Wisconsin is one of the fastest growing printing companies in North America. Family owned and operated since 1918, Times Printing offers a uniquely Midwestern combination of high quality service and personal attention. Times Printing. Flying puts you in the pilot seat. No other magazine brings you as much of the beauty, the fascination, the excitement of flying as Flying Magazine. Just call and we'll send you the latest issue of Flying free. If you like flying, we'll send you 11 more issues a full year for just $18.97. That's over $23 off the annual newsstand cost. Call toll-free for your free issue of Flying right now. 1-800-631-5188. That's 1-800-631-5188.
Do you like airplanes and the people who fly them? Then EAA, the Sport Aviation Association, is for you. EAA offers something for every age and interest, pilot and non-pilot alike. As an EAA member, you'll be right in the middle of the action. EAA is aviation's recognized newsmaker. Get involved with local activities or the International Oshkosh Fly-In Convention. Join today and receive this free video. Call now. Learn why our members say EAA puts the fun in flying.
Do you want to explore a world of fun, excitement, and travel? Then order our exciting video, Let's Go Fly.
This in-the-air video puts you at the controls, experiencing the joy and exhilaration of flying.
See? There's nothing to it. In Let's Go Flying, we explain everything you need for an exciting beginning in flying, how to get started flying, the surprisingly low cost of learning, and priceless do's and don'ts.
Call us now at 1-800-854-1001 and you'll discover what learning to fly is all about.
Ultimate Flights is brought to you by EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association. Canon, so advanced, it's simple. The Avemco Advantage, working to save you money on travel. I am with one of the class acts in flying, Patty Wagstaff. Patty, great to have you here.
Thank you, John.
She is, as you know, the host of our Women in Aviation segment on Ultimate Flights. Gave Sean Tucker a pretty good beating, some people think, on our first program. A lot of comments on that.
Well, thanks. You know, I'd love to fly with Sean. I'll take him on anytime.
This is the woman who made a lot of men in aerobatics say, well, I'm best among the men, because she was not the women's champion. She was the overall U.S. national aerobatic champion and plans to return to that state.
Now we have to have a trophy that says to the highest scoring male, like they did to females for a long time.
Exactly right, and you're the one making them do it, aren't you?
Well, I think I'll make a trophy up for him, too.
Now, you've got some good guests coming up in future programs. I take it you're looking forward to that?
I'm really looking forward to it. There's so many women that I love to fly with, and so many men, too, like Sean and everybody else at the air shows that I fly with. But there's a lot of women I'm really looking forward to interviewing and introducing to people.
For instance, the person you have for us on this very program.
I think I better introduce her.
I think
Okay,
maybe I
John?
should give you the microphone. You're the boss. Take it away, Patty.
Thanks, John. Today I'd like to introduce you to my friend and fellow pilot, Connie Bolin. Connie does a lot of flying in a lot of different airplanes, but for a living she flies MD-88s for Delta Airlines. Hi, Connie.
Hi, Patty. Nice to see you.
Good to see you at another air show. Here we are.
Show, yes.
Connie, what's it like flying an MD-88?
Well, it's certainly different than flying the Warbirds, Patty, and as you fly a lot of different airplanes, you know they're all different. The MD-88 is a great airplane. It's a wonderful passenger airplane for getting people from A to B, but it doesn't do rolls and that kind of stuff very well.
You wouldn't want to do a roll in MD-88. No, I think that
don't
might shock a few people back there.
No, it's the latest technology airplane. Engines are really great. It's great performance, and of course all the navigational equipment. We have the computers that actually we put our flight plan in, and it'll follow the little pink line. They made it pink for you and I guess.
That was nice of them.
Wasn't it nice?
Always thoughtful of us women in aviation. There aren't too many of us.
Yes.
But more and more all the time, thank goodness. When you're flying some of the other planes you fly now, you fly B-17s, you fly P-51s, you fly B-25s, P-47s. What are some of the, how does your mindset vary from going from the airlines into a warbird, a World War II fighter, for instance?
Of course, for the airline, I'm a professional pilot. It is my job to get you or whomever is in the back from point A to point B in a safe and comfortable manner. So it's a lot different. It's not exactly like being a bus driver, but it certainly is a standard route where, like coming up here today, we came in a flight of 7 aircraft with Spitfires, P-47s, Corsairs.
That must be so exciting.
So that's a lot different. You know, you go across Chicago airspace over the top of the airlines coming in as they're descending in. You think, these guys are working and I'm playing. You know,
and you're looping and rolling them and flying in formation, which you can never do with the airlines.
You can never do with the airlines. It's a lot of difference.
Did you always know that you were going to be a pilot?
I grew up as a kid on a tobacco farm in North Carolina, and never, ever in my wildest dreams would I have thought, first of all, that I'd fly an airplane, and then to think that I would fly a P-51 or a P-47 or the B-17 or any of these airplanes that I'm fortunate enough to fly. I remember watching the crop dusters around the farm there, and then as years went by, I always had an interest. I was always kind of a tomboy, which probably doesn't surprise the people that know me. My dad and my mother brought us up 3 girls, and my dad says he didn't need boys because his girls could do anything. So we never were told that we could not do something.
How about advice for young people, men and women, that want to get involved in aviation?
I'm glad you said that men and women. The persistence, I think, in a drive and ambition, and work very hard for what you want to do. If you have a certain amount of talent, it takes a little bit of talent, but a lot of hard work. and persistence and hard work really pays off.
And maybe come to the air shows and see us once in a while and wave and say hi, and we can give them, show them the cockpit.
In fact, I recall a year ago you and I left the same air show, and we happened to be in two Barons airplanes very much alike. You called to taxi, I called to taxi, and they were totally confused. They couldn't believe.
I was confused.
that there were two women in airplanes just alike.
That was really funny. I remember that. Well, thanks, Connie, and have a really good air show and many happy years of flying.
Thank you. Same to you. I'm always impressed with your dedication to your type of flying.
Thank you. You have to love it.
Yes, you do.
Next, where air and water meet. Stay with us on Ultimate Flights.
Busted your back, you've nearly drowned yourself, and your car wash is still hit or miss. Next time, use a Shawala. A Shawala wash is the fastest, easiest, most thorough car wash there is. The giant washing surface cleans your entire car in no time, with the same type of material used in professional brushless car washes. So tough, it's virtually indestructible. The multiple layers follow any contour. And look, it would take all these ordinary sponges to equal the surface washing area of one Shawala. Nothing can hold more soap. Have a van? Then you've got to have a Shawala. No climbing, no straining. The extra long handle reaches even the highest vehicle. Cleans wheels and tires in seconds. Don't settle for cheap imitations. The genuine Shawala is only $19.95, so order yours now.
Call toll-free 1-800-532-5800. That's 1-800-532-5800, or send $19.95 plus shipping and handling to Shawala, 2 Morgan Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut.
I'm an Australian kid. Being physically active is in my skin. There are days where it's more intense and there are days that it's less intense, but I'm always active. It's not a fad. I don't do it in order to keep in shape for business. I do it because it's part of me. I think in life it's really important to be a player and not a spectator. Sometimes it's difficult, but it's worth it.
ESPN2, people who do.
Pilots love to talk about the freedom of flight, the sense of serenity and independence they get cutting through the open skies as one with machines they love and respect. Some pilots take it a step further. Water pilots, float planers, the people who fly these machines bring together their love of flight and their love of nature. For them, the ultimate flight is a flight to beauty. Putting the airplane down on the glassy, smooth surface of a lake, opening the door and wetting a line. Or just watching the sunrise throw a lengthening trail of sparkling light across the surface of the water. Now, that's not to say these people are hermits, that they're antisocial. In fact, they like to get together as much as they like to get away. And when they do get together, they know how to have fun. A big part of the Sun and Fun EAA Fly-In Convention held annually near Lakeland, Florida, is the activities centered at the float plane base. It's fun. And it can also be competitive, as I learned when I was recruited to take part in the Precision Grapefruit Drop competition.
And I am with Jay Fry of the Seaplane Division, Vice President, Seaplane Division, Edo Corp, and you're going to give us a briefing as to, having just been to the briefing, what the story is for the bomb drop, what are the rules, how's it work?
John, what they told us is that we're allowed to make 2 passes. Because we're environmentally oriented this year, we're going to drop grapefruit, and the passes will be at 200 feet. And we'll be allowed 2 drops, and the winner is the person that comes the nearest to the buoy and the marker. And I guess you're going to be the bomber.
Well, it sounds pretty simple, Jay.
Well, I think it is, but there's a little bit, you have to get a little careful, and you got to watch the speed. and we're going to count between the two of us so we can figure out how we should drop it.
Can you give me any tips before we go up?
Well, it'd be kind of nice. Maybe we should do is go out and practice a little, and try that and see if we can get the wind and the drift and everything under control here.
Is a finger roll like this work, or should we try to dunk
I
it
would
down,
try
do you
to
think?
dunk it down. The big thing is we want to drop early because we're going through the air at about 60 miles an hour. So the grapefruit's going to keep traveling forward, and it's not going to drop down for where we drop over, but it's going to go forward.
I need to remember we want the grapefruit to go and my arm and hand to stay in the airplane.
We want you to stay with the plane.
All right, so we've got our briefing. We're ready to go. We're going to take our shot. You take the mic, give me an extra grapefruit, and we're off.
You're always nervous before a mission. You tell yourself it's just a job. You try to stay focused and try not to think beyond what has to be done at the moment. But truth is never relegated to the back burner for long. Everybody knows the stakes. Everybody knows that everybody can't win. By definition, there must be losers. As you approach the target, all your senses seem to be heightened. The sound of your own heartbeat is deafening. Involuntarily, you flex your dropping wrist over and over again. Sometimes, if you've been on too many of these runs, you start to doubt. Doubt turns to discouragement. It's just too big an assignment. I can't do it. I'll never hit it.
Feel the force, John. Concentrate. Become the grapefruit.
One thing I could do was finger roll. Graciously, courageously, I overcame my bitter disappointment to interview the overall winner.
The bombing competition is over. It's time now to talk with the winner, Pierce Walmsley, walking up here from his Kit Fox. Pierce, congratulations. Within 5 feet of the target with that grapefruit.
That's correct.
What was your strategy there?
My strategy was to get as close to the donut as I could.
Well, strangely enough, that was everybody's strategy, and yet, that would be, John, and yet you managed to come within 5 feet. Now, let's take a look at the videotape of you approaching and tell us what you were thinking and what you were planning as you approached the target in your Kit Fox.
Well, there's a little known fact that there is a Boca Grande Air Force, and we practice this almost every day, and what we think about is absolutely nothing at the point of drop.
So therefore you have no distractions whatsoever, clear mind, you say?
Clear mind.
Okay, laugh at my grapefruit bombs if you want to, but ask yourself one question. How many enemy aircraft have ever made it past Orlando? Yeah, you see?
Next, a trader card from Rick Trader.
Be sure to get your shot with a Canon Sure Shot, like the new Sure Shot 60 Zoom. A little beauty of a zoom with a great big viewfinder.
People ask me how the Eagles have lasted 25 years doing something that looks so dangerous. It's because we put safety first, and so does our sponsor. The Avepco Group, including Avepco and National, ensures more pilots and sport aircraft than anyone else. Licensed in every state, traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and created the new official EAA insurance plan. Shouldn't you be under Avepco's wings? We are, and Avepco is under ours.
Man, I just love ultralights. Beautiful airplanes, fun to fly in. It makes me think of Rick Trader, the guy that flew all around the country and up to Alaska in an ultralight. He promised us postcards. I haven't heard from him. I wonder what the heck Rick is up to these days. Geez, Hey, John. Guess I should have known. Ultralights are around. Here he is, Rick Trader in the flesh. All right, pal. What have you been up to?
Well, John, we just got back from the central Hudson Valley in New York State, one of the pretty little places in the country. We visited an airplane works like no other in the country. It's not Orville, it's not Wilbur, but it's as close as you're going to get.
So we're getting our Trader card delivered in person this time.
Yes, sir, right here, right now.
Let's take a look.
Here it is. The first time I saw the mountains of New York was on a postcard that was sent to me by my grandmother. The first time I saw an ultralight, I was at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in the shadow of the Wright Brothers Monument. And the first time I saw a trike, which is a kite with 3 wheels, pushed by a snowmobile engine, it's when I'm at Gunner Graubaum. Now, Gunner should know you never invite Rick Trader someplace you don't want him to show up, but Gunner, thanks for the invite.
How you doing?
Great to be here.
Welcome to the Mid-Hudson Valley here. We're got a lot of nice scenery to look at today. We're going to fly up and down this valley with some beautiful mountain ranges in the background, and we're going to do that with 3 of our trikes. We've got Susan Richardson on the end flying a single-seater.
Terrific, a woman pilot.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got Patrick Turner also flying another single-seater, and here's John Dubray.
Hi, John. How are you?
Pleased to meet you.
Good to meet you, bud.
We'll be flying in this 2-seater right here.
This is a 2-seater.
Definitely a 2-seater. We're going to put the pilot in the front seat, and the passenger goes in the back, and that's definitely the best seat in the house.
Well, that's where I'm going to be.
All right.
Now, I can't wait to get going, so let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Wouldn't you know it, just as we got the cameras set up, the wind picked up. So we went back to Gunner's shop, find out exactly how the trikes are made. From this small shop in the Hudson Valley come the dreams of man, the ability to fly. I almost half expected to see Orville or Wilbur behind a sewing machine or at the drafting table or tinkering with a new tool. Instead, it was Gunner. I was impressed with the detail he and his small staff put in this non-assembly line. Every part was made with the precision of a modern high-tech facility, but there were no robotics, only craftsmen. After talking with Gunner, I knew that this was a man dedicated not only to his business, but to the entire sport aviation movement. I'm getting real excited. We've been waiting all day to do this. Sky is cleared beautifully, and I'm ready to go. I'm really excited about this. The most exciting part of any flight is the takeoff. As the earth drops out from under me, I'm always amazed how much things change. The trike in the hands of Gunner actually become part of the air. The ultimate joy of flying is to share it with friends. All too soon, the flight is over. I don't care what you do. This is it. You have got to try this. Just a blast.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, way to go.
Gunner, thank you. Gunner Graubaum is one of the truly lucky people who are doing exactly what they want to do in life, and he loves it.
That's quite a guy. Nice trader card, Rick, and more to come.
Absolutely, John. In fact, I just received a postcard from an old friend. Dear Rick, I know you've been in search of eagles for a long time. You really need to search for the ultimate crab cake.
Ultimate crab cake?
Come on down to the Chesapeake Bay, Hugh Horning. Now, for making this suggestion, I'm going to take Hugh a case of Valvoline oil. And you know, John, you look like the type of guy that could really go for a great meal. You ought to come with us on the next trader card.
You have room?
Absolutely, and a lot of great food, too.
I'll tell you, I might take you up on that. We know you're going for sure. Another terrific trader card coming up on Ultimate Flights, and we're looking forward to it. So get aboard and go get those crab cakes, Rick.
Will do.
At the end of the day, more top mechanics in America choose one motor oil over any other brand to help keep their own cars running longer. Valvoline motor oil. People who know use Valvoline.
What do you get when you cross a high-quality conventional motor oil with an advanced formula synthetic? A revolutionary new oil that protects better than regular oils, yet costs 40% less than full synthetics. DuraBlend from Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
Do you like airplanes and the people who fly them? Then EAA, the Sport Aviation Association, is for you. EAA offers something for every age and interest, pilot and non-pilot alike. As an EAA member, you'll be right in the middle of the action. EAA is aviation's recognized newsmaker. Get involved with local activities or the International Oshkosh Fly-In Convention. Join today and receive this free video. Call now. Learn why our members say EAA puts the fun in flying.
Ultimate Flights is brought to you by EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association. Canon, so advanced, it's simple. The Avemco Group of Insurers, leading general aviation insurers. Oh, don't forget to send in your Ultimate Flights on videotape. Here's the address. And if we can use it, your Ultimate Flight on videotape, that is, you get a hat and a t-shirt. And if it's the best, according to our distinguished panel of judges, you can win a state-of-the-art Canon camcorder. Rules again? Okay, here it goes. Keep it under 5 minutes. We have the right to put it on the air if you send it in. We can't return your entry. If you treasure it, keep it, Dub, please. No injuries to humans, pets, ex-husbands, or any other living things. Now, don't even say it, okay? And the decision of our distinguished panel of judges is final. We'll be doing this again next month, right here. Why don't you drop by? Bring a friend. We'll do some flying. Till then, keep your nose down in the turns. I'm John Nicholson from Oshkosh for Ultimate Flights and ESPN2.